You know that feeling, right? When you're perfectly warm, completely safe, and just comfortable? It's universal. But in German, a single word just doesn't really cut it. Now, most people know the word Gemütlich, but if you want to sound like you really know what you're talking about, you need a whole toolkit of cozy words. So let's dive in and build that toolkit together.
Just listen to this for a second. Draußen ist es kalt und dunkel, aber drinnen brennen Kerzen. Outside it's cold and dark, but inside candles are burning. You can feel that, can't you? You can just picture it. You're on the sofa, maybe under a blanket, with a warm cup of something in your hands. Well, today we're going to find the perfect German words for that exact feeling.
So what is the right word for that specific feeling? Well, the simple answer is gemütlich, but the real answer is it depends. See, German has this fantastic palette of words that can paint a much more precise picture of coziness, and that's exactly what we're going to explore right now.
Okay, let's start with the big one, the all-rounder, gemütlich. You've probably heard it, you might even use it. But what you might not realize is just how incredibly versatile this word is. It actually has a few secrets up its sleeve.
At its very core, Gemütlich is all about the atmosphere. It's about a place that is so warm, so relaxed, and so inviting that you just don't want to leave. You know, think about painting your living room a warm color. You're not just changing the paint, you're making the room gemütlicher. You're creating a whole vibe.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because gemütlich can stretch way beyond just describing a room. First, it's for atmosphere, right? Like a quiet, relaxed evening. Ein gemütlicher Abend. Second, sure, it can be for furniture, like a super soft sofa you just sink into. Third, and this is a really cool one, it can describe tempo. If you're just strolling to work, no stress, taking your time, you're going gemütlich. And finally, you can even call a person gemütlich. You know, someone who's calm, friendly, easygoing. It's a huge compliment.
Okay, so gemütlich often describes the outside world. But what about the feeling that's happening inside of you? Let's switch gears and talk about the words that describe your internal state of coziness.
First up, we have behaglich. Now this one's a little more elevated, a bit more sophisticated than gemütlich. It describes a state of deep contentment that comes from being in a really comfortable situation. The absolute perfect image for this is a dog fast asleep in its warm basket, totally at peace with the world. That dog isn't just cozy, it's behaglich.
Then there's wohlig. This word is all about the internal feeling, and it's almost always connected to physical warmth. So here's the key. You can't have a wohliges Sofa, but you can definitely have a wohliges Gefühl, a cozy feeling inside you. It's that satisfied little sigh, that wohliger Seufzer, when you get into a warm bed. Or it's the wohlige Wärme, that deep, pleasant warmth from a fireplace that just makes you feel good from the inside out.
All right, so we've covered atmosphere and we've covered internal feelings. Now let's get practical and talk about the things themselves, the actual physical objects that make us feel so comfortable. And this brings us to bequem. This word is purely about physical comfort. Think ergonomic. It's all about how something feels on your body. An armchair is bequem. A good hotel bed is bequem. And most importantly, if you're going on a long hike, you absolutely need bequeme Schuhe. Comfortable shoes. And this right here is the perfect way to understand the difference between gemütlich and bequem. Think about it. An ugly, old armchair might be incredibly bequem to sit in, but because it's an eyesore, it doesn't create a gemütliche atmosphere in the room. See the difference? One is for your body, the other is for your soul.
Okay, hold on. Quick pause here, because this next point is absolutely crucial. This is a classic trap for German learners, and you're going to want to know this to avoid a really common mistake.
So while calling a person gemütlich is a nice thing to say, calling them bequem is, well, it's not. A bequemer Mensch is a lazy person, somebody who avoids effort at all costs. So yeah, be really careful with this one. The context completely changes the meaning.
Now for a great casual word, mollig. Mollig just means pleasantly and comfortably warm. It's perfect for when you walk into a friend's house on a freezing day and you say, das ist aber schön mollig bei dir. Oh, it's so nice and warm in here. It's great for describing a room or even a warm winter coat, ein molliger Mantel.
And here we go again. Just like with bequem, you need to tread carefully. Mollig is another one of those tricky words with a double meaning you'll definitely want to get right.
So when you use mollig to describe a person, it means they're a little bit chubby or slightly overweight. Now, it's not always harsh, but you definitely don't want to tell your host you are so mollig, when what you really mean is that they have a warm and welcoming personality.
All right, let's talk texture with the word kuschelig. This comes right from the verb kuscheln, which means to cuddle. So basically, anything that's soft, warm, and just makes you want to snuggle up with it is kuschelig. A fluffy blanket, a soft sweater, your cat's fur. If it feels amazing to the touch, it's kuschelig.
Okay, time for a little twist. We usually think of cozy as an indoor thing, right? Curled up by a fire. But get this, German has a fantastic word for a very specific kind of outdoor coziness.
And that word is lauschlich. Lauschlich describes a spot outside that's quiet, sheltered, maybe a little bit hidden, and just feels protected and pleasant. It's one of those words that doesn't have a perfect one-to-one translation in English, which is what makes it so cool.
You'll almost always hear it in the phrase ein lauschiges Plätzchen, a cozy little spot. Imagine you're in a busy park, but you find that perfect quiet place under a tree, away from everyone else. That is a lauschiges Plätzchen. It's ideal for a picnic. Or think of a charming, quiet courtyard in a restaurant on a warm summer evening. That's also lauschig.
All right, we have covered a ton of new vocabulary for coziness. So before we wrap up, let's do a super quick recap to help lock all of this in.
So here's your cheat sheet. Use Gemütlich for the overall atmosphere. Behaglich for that deep, sophisticated contentment. Wohlig for that inner feeling of warmth. Bequem for pure physical comfort. Mollig for when a room or your coat is just pleasantly warm. Kuschelig for anything soft to the touch. And lauschig for that perfect sheltered outdoor spot.
So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. Welches Adjektiv beschreibt den perfekten Abend? Which of these amazing adjectives best describes your perfect evening? Is it a gemütlich night with friends? Or maybe a quiet, behaglich evening with a book? Thinking about which word fits best is a huge step to sounding truly fluent. Thanks for tuning in.